Welcome back to The Awakening. I'm Father Justin Waltz, and this is episode number 2 of my interview with Lance Goetz, who was hit by a train back in 1998. Episode 1 left off discussing the accident, and we pick it up today after the actual accident happened. So if you could begin there, Lance, and share with us a little bit about the immediate aftermath.
Well, to be honest, it was hard for the ambulance to get to me. The closest ambulance was a half hour to a major city. A rural ambulance got there first. And in fact, someone who lived close to the railroad tracks called my family, so I believe my family was there before any ambulance got there. When they found me, my understanding is I was trying to crawl home arm over arm. My legs, you got to understand, they were so crushed and so demolished that it was like rubber. Even the muscle was almost like jello with a bunch of splinters of bone throughout. But I was trying to arm over arm through the gravel to get home because I believe my mom, well, it's your mom. She can fix anything. It's your mother. So I was asking for my mom. Take me home. Mom will fix it. The first ambulance got there was a rural ambulance, and there was a new guy on duty just starting, and he couldn't look at me. He came back later and told me he had to stand on the other side of the ambulance because just to see me in my demolished state was too much. But the other woman who was there did a wonderful job, and she's a good friend. But I should have bled out just simply with a cut right here in my wrist. It's deep through all the way down to tendon, bone, through the nerves. I should have bled out there. I lost 45 pints of blood, units of blood that day. My legs were just, like I said, just pieces of rubber, basically. Missing toes, had to sew my ear back on and fingers. But I think the injury that should have taken my life most was the fact that my whole backside got tore open. My tailbone got ripped off. And my whole hip was shattered. So the doctor said it looked like a windshield, like spiderwebbed all the way through it. I think that probably should have at least crippled me. And then while I was laying there, my broken ribs punctured my lung. So slowly I was starting to suffocate because my lungs were leaking air, and air was filling in my chest cavity. When they found me, they didn't know what to do. By the time an ambulance from the closest city got there, they packaged me up the best they could. And they, as quickly as they could, took me in. But I was an hour out. The ER doctor was a friend. A very good doctor, Dr. Mickelson, called in people because he knew my family. He called in the best he could. But even the best that were there said 99.9% chance Lance doesn't even make it to the hospital. It was miraculous that I even made it to the hospital. It's miraculous that I can walk.
I think that's a really important point. Everybody is clearly, this was divine intervention that got you from those railroad tracks in an ambulance back to the hospital alive at all.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of being hit by a train moving 65 miles an hour with the weight of that, the impact and force alone, was so destructive to your person. Ejected from the car, they stabilized you, they got you back, and then what? You must have gone directly into surgery.
Directly into the emergency room. It's that moment that many of us have. It's just mine's a little more pronounced. That moment where you know your life is always different. You've changed at that time. That's the moment where I changed as a person completely. Not becoming a horrible person, but everyone has those moments where we're veered off the path we're on completely.
This is a pretty significant one.
Yeah. It was with a bang, not with a whimper, but
Right.
with a bang. Ultimately, they were working on me tirelessly. As soon as I got to the hospital, they were multiple orthopedic surgeons working on me, trying to work with my legs, multiple doctors in multiple fields. Dr. Cavley was working on my intestines and stuff like that because my insides were outside through the hole in my back. And, I mean, covered with grass, like sprinkles on top of a donut. It was just covered with a bunch of dirt and gravel, and they had to clean up and didn't know what organs were completely demolished and which ones they had to save. So they were cutting me open to check that out at the same time. And ironically, as they were just trying to get me checked out, already at that point, the priest from my high school was walking in with several people from my high school.
And that was Monsignor Tom Richter.
Monsignor Tom Richter. He led the charge. He walked in like a general, leading people in the battle, but instead of leading with guns and bullets, he was leading with prayers. He was bringing people into the hospital and helping me. As soon as people heard that I was hurt, they started flocking to the hospital.
My understanding is like the whole high school came up.
I was told over 350 people. I mean, I can't imagine 5 people dropping everything now today and running to the hospital. I can't imagine 5 people, but 350 people. My entire senior class pretty much showed up. Aunts and uncles, when they heard, they came running. Friends that I didn't go to school came running. That night, 350 people, standing room only in much of it, and they had a chapel. It wasn't the biggest chapel, but that chapel was filled, standing room and kneeling room, every pew, the whole night till like 3 a.m. And they prayed. They prayed the rosary over and over and over again.
Well, and in that moment when you feel so unbelievably helpless, nobody knows if you're even going to live. People that otherwise might not even, pray the rosary, led by a priest, are turning to faith in God, the intercession of Our Lady, because that's like all you have in that moment. Either God is going to do something and save your life. Now, granted, through the hands of skilled surgeons and medical professionals, but if he doesn't get involved after you've been hit by a train and are injured to that degree, chances are you're probably not going to survive.
This was 1998. It's not like they had the greatest medical science then at that. I mean,
not like
compared
they do
to today.
now.
Yeah.
That's right.
They didn't have robots performing surgeries. They didn't have robots to perform the microscopic surgery where they tried to repair some of the nerves in my hand. It was just a skilled surgeon. It was just skilled hands. But they were trying to just get me in a stable state, and my heart would deal with constant pressure. Like I said, I lost 45 units of blood that day. And at one point, the more people that they came in, the more it seemed like my prognosis was, okay, we got Lance stable. We're going to try to save one of his legs. Okay, we got this leg. We think we're okay. We're going to try to save his hand. Okay, we're going to try. We found a faint pulse we didn't see before. We're actually going to try to save his right leg. Maybe we could. They couldn't do all the surgeries that night. This was over a long period of time. But the opportunity was there. And the more people came, the more people showed up and prayed. It seemed like the prognosis went from he'll be dead soon to we have a chance. I remember at one of my more dire moments in the beginning, I was told a story. I don't remember this, I'm sorry. But I remember being told a story about how my parents were outside the ER where they were doing a lot of the stuff in the beginning, and the blood pressure was too much. My heart kept fading. And they believed that maybe my father talking to me or my mother talking to me would bring me back. And it's amazing what the voice of our Father can do for us. They got him dressed up. They brought him in there. And it was like instant. That voice of the Father brought me around. And he didn't come in and whisper to me. He didn't come in with tears and whimpers. He came in instructing like a father should, telling me what I needed to do. Fight, Lance, you got to fight. Come on, you got to go. It's fourth quarter drill. I was a football player, so it all relates back to fourth quarter drill, which was a mercilessly part of training in the beginning at fourth quarter drill. It's fourth quarter. You're on the goal line. You can't give up. No matter what, you can't give up. And he was yelling at me. And, a lot of us think when our Father is yelling at us, we take it as something that's bad. He cares enough to yell. How many times do we care enough to yell? My father was yelling at me in the ER, and suddenly my heart never wavered again that night. It stayed strong and kept going. But ultimately, by the end of the night, I was told around 3 a.m., that's when they were just finished cleaning me up, trying to get, one of the things they had to do was just pick all the gravel and grass out of my intestines and my innards. They had to do that a bunch of times, actually. But When they finally got me cleaned up to where they could start performing surgeries the next day, it was like 3 a.m. and there were still people in the hospital. I was told that Monsignor Richter had to go and tell people to leave the chapel because they still had to go to school next day. It was finals week at St. Mary's High School, so they still had to go do that stuff.
Well, that's absolutely beautiful. I mean, the power of prayer, again, the unleashing of the Holy Spirit into this situation through physicians, in some cases that you personally knew, your father in the ER operating room, you being able to hear that spiritually for certain, deep inside of your heart, and fighting through to survive this unbelievably traumatic event. So we are going to move into episode number 3, where we begin to talk about the healing process with Lance Goetz, who was hit by a train. I'm Father Justin Waltz, and this is The Awakening. Don't forget to subscribe, and please join us for episode number 3 with my interview with Lance Goetz.